This video explains how to use the Auditor in Training application. The main purpose of this application is for those who are wanting to become either an energy auditor or a QCI in the Utah Weatherization program. If you're working towards either of those certifications, you've got to fill this form out. And basically, the whole purpose of this form is really to kind of serve as a roadmap and help you to set goals so that you know what you need to do and kind of get an idea of when you will be able to complete it. Once you have completed everything, then you can actually come up to the IWTC and take the test and get the certification. So the Utah guidelines actually require, before you start running any energy audits, you are supposed to become a certified or an approved auditor in training. And the way to do that is to sit down and set all of your goals, submit that to the state, and then we can review it and approve it. Once you're an approved auditor in training, you can then start running energy audits that could actually be, put into production at your agency. Before those energy audits go into production, they must be reviewed by a certified energy auditor. But this allows you to basically say, hey, I'm learning, can I get my learner's permit here, is the idea. So let me just go through this and fill this out. The form's fairly straightforward, but there are some things can kind of be a little confusing. So main idea is that you need to fill in all of the yellow or beige fields. So let's go ahead and put John Doe in here. And we'll say that John Doe works for Bragg. But just pick your agency. And then as you come down through these next sections, there is a section for state prerequisites, and there's another section for BPI prerequisites. So BPI prerequisites, BPI has a list of things you have to turn into them before you can get approved, and you actually have to submit all this stuff, and then they will send you an approval letter. So you got to go through all of their stuff and then get their letter back. For the state stuff, you really just have to usually reach out to Wade Thompson. He'll get you set up on our LMS so you can do some training. But you also have to take care of some certifications. So we've just tried to list them all out here, give you some idea of how long it takes to complete them, whether or not they're required, and then you can kind of think about how much time you have and when you estimate you'd be able to complete all these things. So just going through them, starting with the state prerequisites. The first one is you have to take the BPI Building Science Principle test and get a certificate. To do that, there's a book. You can go to this URL, get the book, read the book, and then you pay a fee and take the online test. And it's all online. Once you passed it, then you're done, and you'll have a printed certificate. You have to get your RMGA certification. Everybody who's doing audits and QCIs, anybody who's touching a vent on a combustion appliance in our program has to have the RMG certification. You can contact Wade Thompson for recommended testing vendors. He used to be able to do the test, but now they've got a shorter list of vendors that they allow to do that. So reach out to him for that. For OSHA, everybody that is out in the field has to have an OSHA 10 or an OSHA 30. So if you don't have either of those, you've got to take care of that. And again, you can reach out to Wade Thompson. He can teach that class, but he has to have at least 6 students. So most of the time he'll be recommending some vendors that you can go to. But let him know that you need it, because if he has enough other students, then he can run a class for you. And the last one is your lead inspector. This one is recommended. It's not required, but it's recommended. And if you're going to do it, you can go through the U of U School of Medicine. There's a URL here that you can click on and follow that information. For the lead inspector, basically, if you are going to be out doing audits, you will be a very effective auditor if you can also do the lead inspections while you're out there, but that's something you'll talk to your coordinator about. Fill out this part of the form. I just simply look at this and I'd say, well, today I'm making this video in December, so I'm going to estimate that by February 1st of 2019, I should have that completed. If I already have my RNGA certification, I can just click that box and say it's done. And if I've reached out to Wade and found out, there's an OSHA class, but it's not available until February 12th, then I'm going to say that by 13 of 19, I should have that one completed. And then I'm already a lead inspector, or John Doe's already a lead inspector, so we'll check those boxes. So again, you don't have to complete every one of these before you can get approved to be an auditor in training. You're just simply going through the list and kind of getting an idea of, or indicating when you should be done with those things. So on the training side of things, it says you have to complete all energy audit modules and quizzes on the IWTC's LMS. That's just our online learning system. Again, just contact Wade Thompson, let him know you're working on this, and he'll get you started on that. That does take about 40 hours. So, if you only have 2 or 3 hours a week that you're working on that, kind of figure that out. Again, I'd factor in all the other training, and I'd probably estimate that, John Doe would be able to finish this by, let's say, by March 1st. So 3-1-19, and the home performance, you have to read the home performance diagnostic book and pass the test that's also on the LMS. So when Wade gets you set up for that, if your agency has a copy of this book, grab it and read it, and then there's just a quiz online, and you can take that and pass that. That one you can do fairly quickly, but I'll probably just put the same date there, so 3-1-2019. And then the last one here is an Energy Auditor 101 course. This one's recommended, but it's not required. It does allow you, when you get down to BPI prerequisites, there's some requirements to have some training from testing centers. And so if you're needing some of that, then this one can help you with that. But we'll go ahead and say that one was completed. But if you're just getting started and you actually want to take that course, it's like a 2 or 3 day course. It's fairly comprehensive, but it's a good starting place to learn how to use the NEAT audit tool. So the next section is the BPI prerequisites. And as of right now, these are the requirements that BPI has. You have to have 1,000 hours of relevant experience in a field technical position within the home performance industry or a related field, or you have to, or in performing audits in a building science trade. So you have to have 1,000 hours of relevant experience. So on this one, we'll say, okay, I just started in the program. In order for me to get 1,000 hours, maybe I have 200 or 300 in so far. But again, I'm not going to be done with this until March 1st. So we'll go 3-1-19. The energy modeling, BPI requires that a candidate has to complete and submit 10 energy models, or basically 10 audits. And this is really one of the main purposes that you're filling this application out, so you can start doing these energy audits. So we're going to assume you don't have them. In order to do 10 of them, it does take a while, and depending on the volume that you have at your agency, this could take a few months, even up to a year. And BPI requires that this is energy modeling that was done in the past 5 years. So on this one, I'm going to estimate that it's going to take John Doe until, let's go May 15th of 19 before he'll have those completed. And then you get to do some electives. Basically, you have to earn 20 points out of all of these things. And so you can fill in which points, what you intend to do here. So the first one is building trades experience, just general construction experience. You get 5 points for each 1,000 hours. So let's say John Doe is going to get 10 points from here, and that he's come to the program and he already has over 2,000 hours that he can document and verify. So that stuff's already done. So we'll just say 12/11 of 18, which is today's date, or you can just say it's completed and check the box. So he's finished that. Training from industry-specific training center. This is where if you're coming to the IWTC and you're going to take the Energy Auditor course, you could get some hours there. Basically, you get 5 points for every 40 hours. So if you did if you did that and you did a couple of other trainings, let's say we're going to earn 5 points here, and then but this one's going to take a little bit. Let's estimate we'll have this one done by the middle of February, so 2/15 of 19. And then you have to have related industry, well, as an elective, you can choose to have some related industry certifications, ResNet, BPI, NATE, EPA, and let's say we're going to get our NATE certification. So we could do 5 points here. That one's going to take a little while. It's kind of comprehensive. Let's say there's a class available in February. So let's say by the end of February, so March 1st, 3-1 of 19 is when we estimate to do that. So all the activities have to be submitted to BPI. Looking at all of this stuff, it looks like 3-1 would be the earliest we'd be able to do all of that. And then you have to submit your BPI application, and then it's going to take 1 to 3 weeks. So I'd probably pick after the BPI stuff is sent. Let's say we won't get our BPI letter back until maybe March 20th, so 3/20 of 19. So once you get to the bottom here, this field is just going to show you whatever the furthest date is out there in this list of goals. So basically this is saying if you complete all of your goals, then you should be ready to come to the training center and test by the middle of May on this one. So once you're done with all of that, you got to read this little agreement, check the box, and say I have read and I agree with this statement, and then you can just hit this button here to submit it for state approval, and that just shoots me an email. I'll review your stuff and kind of think about whether your goals are realistic, see if you have any questions, and then kick you back an email saying that you're approved. Once you're approved, you can still come in here and continue to use this form. Once you're done with this, you can check it off and kind of keep track of where you're at. But this serves as your documentation to show that you have been approved by the state. So if you need any help with this or have any questions, please reach out to me, and good luck.